Guys, today I'll be reacting to Is Meat Good For You by Kurzgesagt. I don't know how to say his name. It's like Kurzgesagt. I don't know, man.
When our vegetarian ancestors started eating meat around 2 million years ago, it wasn't just because animals taste great, it was pure necessity.
Yeah, and our ancestors, if you didn't know, it's a completely different species from us, okay? They ate different things that had different digestive organs to us, you know? They're completely different animals. Doesn't apply to us.
Climate change made many of the plants our ancestors relied on less available, and meat bridged that gap.
No, we switched to animals because we became higher on the trophic level, and killing animals for food is more efficient than like getting nutrients from plants, because animals are more nutritious than plants.
From the discovery of fire at the latest, meat became a staple of the human diet. But
Okay.
for the last few
You
years,
know, that's just a correlation. Discovery of fire. We don't even know when we discovered fire. We don't even know if we cooked food in general.
eating meat has increasingly been associated with health.
Association. Association is not causal. And if you if you control the confounding variables, you see these associations just disappearing.
Risks like heart disease, certain cancers, and an early death.
Yeah, again. Debunked.
So, how unhealthy is meat really?
It's not unhealthy at all. It's really healthy. You should eat meat because that's what the stable isotope analysis proves. We ate meat at the same level as lions, tigers, you know, wolves. We are actually even higher than them, and our stomach acidity is about 1.5 to 3, depending on the person, which is way below like a wolf. So really, it just points to the fact that we ate a lot of meat, and I think it's unassailable.
In this video, we'll only talk about meat. Dairy products deserve a video of their own. Biologically, we need to eat for
Because these people seem to be against dairy for some reason.
3 reasons: for energy, to acquire materials to fabricate our cells, and to get special molecules that our bodies can't make themselves. The energy and most of the materials come from the 3 macronutrients: fats, carbohydrates, and protein.
You know, fat is a nutrient, carbohydrate not nutrient by definition, because nutrition, like the definition of a nutrient, is something that nourishes your body. Carbohydrate doesn't nourish your body. Protein, yes, because you need protein to live. You need fat to live. You don't need exogenous carbohydrate to live. Gluconeogenesis takes care of everything.
Proteins are the most important resource for repairing and replenishing our cell structures. The special molecules are a large variety of vitamins and minerals we need to drive metabolic processes. Meat provides us with most of these things. It contains all essential amino acids our body needs and a lot of minerals like iron, zinc, and essential vitamins, some of which are barely found in plants like vitamin.
But also vitamin A, vitamin D, K2, creatine, carnosine, folate, B6, B12, methylated versions, you know. CLA, CoQ10, cholesterol, you know, bioavailable versions of magnesium, you know, zinc, heme iron as well, not just iron, heme iron.
12. Only one essential nutrient is missing in most of the meat we consume: vitamin C.
Yeah, and vitamin C consumption, like daily requirement, is completely arbitrary. There's no evidence pointing to that you need this specific amount of vitamin C for every diet in the world. It seems it's really context dependent, and if you eat a lot of meat, especially if it's not cooked, because you know, heating process is like it dehydrates the meat, and vitamin C is water soluble. So what happens is the water evaporates and the vitamin C alongside just disappears as well.
It appears in almost all plants and supports our immune system as well as the development of connective tissues. After a few months without it, you'd get...
No, pirates got scurvy because they started eating like some bullshit processed food. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't because it was meat. They actually got it when they ran out of meat.
Scurvy. But meat has another big advantage: its high bioavailability. Some of the nutrients in meat are broken down faster and available quicker than those from plants. Spinach, for example, contains more iron than meat, but it's absorbed much slower.
Yeah, and it's also inhibited by oxalates. Like spinach has a lot of oxalates.
The body needs more energy to digest it.
Okay, I don't think he'll talk about the oxalates and anti-nutrients. So every plants can't defend themselves. So what they do is they developed a chemical, a defensive chemical to protect themselves. It's like a chemical warfare. And what they did is they developed these things called anti-nutrients. Unlike nutrients that nourish your body, anti-nutrients do the opposite, and they take away nutrients from the body. So oxalates, like I mentioned before, what they do is they bind to your minerals like calcium, magnesium, zinc, and they make them unusable because they're bound. And things like phytic acid as well, a lot of things. This happens because the electric charge, some magnesium, there's a magnesium I think has a positive charge. It might be the other way around, but one has positive and one has negative, so they bind together.
Several health benefits have also been observed in communities that rely solely on meat. The Inuit, for example, are able to survive in extreme climate conditions on a purely meat-based diet if necessary.
Yeah, I think that this like debunks his claim about, we need vitamin C from plants because these people don't eat plants.
Since they consume the whole animal, including the organs, they get every single nutrient they need, including vitamin C.
I'll touch on vitamin C, okay? So it seems like if you eat a lot of meat or only meat or just animal-based in general, you don't need that much vitamin C because first of all, your GLUT1 transport, which is like a competition which competes vitamin C with glucose. So if you have no glucose in your diet, glucose is sugar. If you have no sugar in your diet, such as plants, your vitamin C, actually, you'll intake more vitamin C from less. So even though meat doesn't have a lot of vitamin C, you'll get more vitamin C from eating meat. Not only that, some of the properties from vitamin C is just taken, meat controls it, such as like hydroperoxine, I can't say it. But vitamin C hydrolyzes peroxine, and it seems like meat has a compound that does that for you as well. So there's no real use for vitamin C if you eat a lot of meat.
So meat itself is definitely not dangerous for us, but its health effects vary depending on how it's prepared and what animal it comes from. When talking about meat in the Western world, we generally mean muscle tissues that have a high nutrient density but also lack some of the vitamins that make it possible to...
It doesn't lack in anything. You can live off of animal meat, muscle meat as well, like just alone. You don't need to eat organs, you don't need to drink milk, you don't need to eat eggs. If you truly wanted to, you could just thrive off of muscle meat.
Thrive on meat alone. The most healthy animals
they have every single nutrient in the world. Everything you need
to eat are probably fish. Fish contains polyunsaturated fatty acids like omega-3, which may lower the risk of cardiovascular disease.
Which may, and he says may because it's not actual confirmed, because all these studies are from associations, and this association doesn't mean causation, and they're actually contradicting paradoxical studies as well, which debunk this. And PUFA is essential, but it's impossible to be low on PUFA because the daily requirement for any person is close to 0. It's 2%.
And support anti-inflammatory immune functions. As part of a balanced diet, fish can be eaten regularly without worries.
No, if you eat it regularly, you will suffer from heavy metal overdose. It's a real thing, it's been confirmed. You will lose hair, you will be unhealthier, you will develop some diseases that I can't talk about.
Eating fish comes with its own bag of complications though, like overfishing and the destruction of the oceans. We'll talk about that in another video.
Because, I talk about what's good for you, what's good for you as humans. I don't want to debate, I don't really care about the topic of what's good for the environment or not. That's a completely different story.
Second is the most popular meat, chicken. It's regarded as the meat with the fewest health risks. The only
meat with the least amount of fat-soluble vitamins. Now, I have nothing against chicken. Chicken's good, but You know, it's a step below meat, in my opinion.
The health effect of poultry is a bit controversial. Fat. Its high content of saturated fats is associated with a higher...
It's also associated. And, you know, again, there's studies, contradicting studies, where if you control for LDL, HDL, and triglycerides, all the plaque progression and every like association is like debunked. It's like normalized. And we also see plaque progression and, you know, atherosclerosis from so-called cholesterol. If you look at when seed oils were introduced back in the 1910s, and, you know, the heart disease rate along with the seed oil, it's like this, the correlation is insane.
cholesterol level and cardiovascular
So
disease.
really, should we blame it on cholesterol or should we blame it on seed oils?
But this idea has also been criticized by a large number of scientists, arguing high cholesterol levels might be inherited and not caused by nutrition.
Well, you can't really prove that because, you know, technically you can, but because of ethics community and, you know, all the science-based like laws around it, to prove that it's inherited, you'll need two identical twins born on the same time, well, like 1 minute apart, same. You'll separate them in two different labs, give them the same diet, the same sun exposure, the same everything, and you'll have to do that for like 10 years, which is completely inhumane and will never happen, so will never be proven.
So, in general, if you want meat and are concerned about your health, go for chicken.
Go red meat.
Things start to get problematic with high intakes of red meat like beef, veal, pork, lamb, horse, and goat. A recently published study recommends, for example, a maximum of 20...
Yo, guys, 23 grams is insane. You know how small that is? 23 grams is like the size of my thumb. Like, you yourself know that's not true. You can eat like a literal steak of meat every day and you won't die, and you know that for a fact.
3 grams of
This
red
is completely ridiculous.
meat per day, which is a very small steak per week. However, large-scale meta-analysis studies have shown that eating 100 grams of red meat every day increases the relative risk of diabetes by 19%, of strokes by 11%, and of colorectal cancer by 7%.
Guys, this is such a weak correlation. Like, doesn't even prove anything. Like, I say correlation doesn't mean causation. But, you know, you will argue back with me, like, saying, does that mean all the studies saying, like, smoking causes lung cancer is not true? Because it's not, like, it's just association, right? Well, I say back, the correlation between lung cancer and smoking, and, like, against people who don't smoke, is 3,000%. 3,000%. And you're comparing 3,000% to 19% at max. Like, it's so weak. These arguments are so weak.
This sounds alarming, but before we panic, let's have a look at how these studies were conducted. Because this brings us to the second big problem when trying to answer the question of whether meat is unhealthy or not. Most studies that linked health risks to eating red meat were case control studies, which means taking a group of people with a disease and classifying them by their eating habits. The more red meat
And this is just epidemiology, which is not causation at all, again.
consume,
These people do anything but use actual control groups and, like, use mechanisms to prove that, you know, cholesterol and saturated fat cause heart disease, which it doesn't, by the way.
the more likely they were to contract certain diseases. The problem is that it's very hard to eliminate other factors. People who eat less meat tend to live a healthier lifestyle in general. They tend to eat more vegetables and fruit and are less likely to smoke and drink
Yeah, and this is like type of things that they don't control for.
alcohol. Most studies try to eliminate these factors, but it's extremely hard to make definitive statements. Things get worse when we look at processed meat, though. Processing meat means adding certain chemicals by curing, smoking, salting, or fermenting, or in other words, making it delicious. Bacon, ham, salami, sausages, and hot dogs contain chemicals that are harmful for us.
You know, this is no brainer. Like, processed meat, I think everybody knows, isn't good.
like nitrates and nitrites, that can damage the DNA in our digestive system and lead to cancer. The WHO reviewed 800 studies over 20 years and concluded that processed meat is strongly linked to an increased risk of colorectal cancer. Each extra 50 grams
Again, like, I agree that they're bad, but dude, it's another correlation study.
of processed meat per day increases your relative risk of cancer by 18%. When it comes to cancer risk, processed meat is now in the same category as plutonium, asbestos, and smoking. The WHO highlights that its research is only about the
Also, cooking meat causes carcinogens also.
question of whether or not something causes cancer and not to what extent. But processed meat may also significantly increase the chance of suffering from diabetes, strokes, and coronary heart diseases. It also makes a difference what sort of life our meat lived when it was still part of a living being.
Very true.
It's common to feed large amounts of antibiotics to livestock in order to prevent diseases which can spread antibiotic resistance. Combined, a high consumption of both red and processed meat could increase your chance of premature death by up
Again, it's like, increase the chance of this, chance of that. Bro, if I ate like a bean, never mind. Okay.
29%. This means if your chance of dying is 3% this year, it's now 4%. This might not sound like a lot, but tiny percentages have a huge impact on societies of millions. They also seem harmless until they affect you. To blame meat alone for bad health would be wrong though. There is no evidence that the very essence of meat has any negative effect beyond its high fat content.
So there's no evidence of high fat content causing anything.
And even this point is highly
No real credible evidence.
contentious. Just like with many other pleasures in life, sometimes too much of a good thing is harmful. Most public health agencies suggest cutting meat consumption to 500 grams a week, while studies suggest cutting down processed meat as much as possible. So if you feast on meat no more than once or twice a week, you should be good. For most people, this already means a drastic change in their diets though. The average American consumes around almost 1,600 grams of meat a week. The average German 1,100 grams a week. And many of us eat much, much more. If you're not really sure, make a small note whenever you eat meat for a week or two. You'll be surprised how much it really is.
No, just eat meat whenever you want, bro. It doesn't matter. You're meant to eat it every day at like pounds and pounds and pounds. Or, kilograms.
So most people watching this video would benefit from cutting
No, most people benefit from eating more meat because we know meat has every single essential nutrient. It's also what we ate for millions of years.
on meat. Aside from health concerns, there's still the fact that the meat industry is one of the largest contributors to climate change and has reached a scale where it's impossible to deliver millions of tons of meat and still treat animals with dignity. We've already discussed that in detail in another video. All in all, in moderation, meat is not unhealthy, and you don't need to become vegetarian overnight to have a real impact on your health and the planet. But your lifestyle choices do matter, for yourself and for others.
Yo, okay, well, man, that video had me drained, like, all those really bad evidences and, like, it's spreading false information. And, Kurzgesagt, or however you say its name, is also owned by some people that I can't talk about on YouTube, and they're spreading this type of false information. I think I debunked this point good enough. Meat's really good for you. Keep eating meat, and thank you.